Hello everyone. In the exam hall, there are two types of students. One student is the one who is a little tensed about his preparation and he's scared with the paper. If the tough paper comes, even if he knows the concepts, he panics and he forgets the concepts or he does a lot of scribbling and cutting. The second type of student is the student who is calm, relaxed, composed. Maybe he has not completed the entire syllabus, but he's relaxed, he's confident. He goes in the exam hall, does whatever he knows nicely, is fast, and even if a tough question comes, he just writes down whatever he knows. He doesn't panic. See, in the exam hall, it's not just your preparation that's most important. Of course, your preparation matters, but also your mindset matters a lot. If you're calm and composed, even if you do not know the questions, you will come up with the answer. You have studied so much, you will come up with something relevant. If you're calm and composed, and you can get at least half a mark, one mark here and there. But if you're extremely stressed or panicked, then even things that you remember, you might forget, or you might make mistakes in them. You might make wrong choice of questions. So in the exam hall, let's discuss a few pointers that will make you calm and composed, that will help you take better decisions and help you score exemptions and pass in all the papers. Okay, let's start off. So number one is that before the exam, after the exam, in that 1.5 days, you have to avoid discussing your preparation or the paper with any of your friends. How much that other friend of yours has prepared, how much you have prepared, how are you feeling, it doesn't matter. All this information is irrelevant. Please don't engage in all of this. Why? Because it's like 1 minute conversation that you will think for 1 hour in your mind. It will waste your time, and time is so very precious in these 1.5 day gaps that you get between exams. What paper you have given, it's done and dusted. Now you can't do anything about it. So getting information from anybody, trying to compare, it's a waste of time. It'll just bother you. So don't do that. Please don't do that. Second important thing is, after every paper, on YouTube, you will get solutions from the teachers. You will get paper reviews, whether the paper is tough, easy. Again, same concept applies. Please do not anyways go on YouTube and see any of those videos. The paper that's done is done. And if you see any of these videos or engage in the comments or read people's reviews, you'll just be bothered. If someone's paper is bad, you'll feel good, you'll feel overconfident. Again, it'll affect your preparation. If someone's paper went really well and your paper did not go well, again, you will feel like something's wrong with you. And honestly, these opinions are actually not so true. Some people might think it's easy, some people might think the paper was difficult. Again, these are just opinions. It's not facts. It doesn't determine how much marks you are going to get. So please do not engage. That 1 minute of conversation will lead to 1 to 2 to 3 hours of disturbance for your mind. It might shatter your confidence also, and we don't want that. 1.5 days, very sacred. Only focus on your plan and your studies. Next important tip is that at 5 o'clock, once your paper is finished, and once you're at home, maybe half an hour or 1 hour you can rest. After that, please study for at least 4 hours before you sleep. Okay, that day when you come back from the last exam, that day usually most of the students waste their time. Okay, they're too tired and they think we have got 1.5 days ahead, so they don't study at all. Trust me, those 4 hours that you waste thinking that you have a lot of time tomorrow and day after, those 4 hours are extremely crucial. Okay, even though you are tired, I would suggest that please take up some small chapters, maybe C category chapters or a few chapters that you like, and finish them off. At least 4 hours output you should take out, instead of simply just sitting and relaxing and wasting your time. Tomorrow and day after, before the exam, you will realize that was a good decision. You'll be able to complete the syllabus. Okay. Next crucial tip is that do not switch your material. If you have studied from one book throughout your preparation for the last 2-3 months, stick to that same book. Okay, let's say out of 10 chapters, you have completed 7 chapters. 3 chapters you've never studied. This is not the time to study. Last 1.5 days is not the time to study those new chapters. First, please focus on revising whatever you have studied. Those new topics, please, as of now, don't do them. Later on, let's say before exam, if you get a couple of hours, you can look at the main concepts. Otherwise, only revise what you have done and stick to the same books that you have used in the last 2 months or 3 months. Okay, now in these last 1.5 days, you will get a lot of marathon lectures also that will come up on YouTube. Should you be watching those marathon lectures? Okay, so if you have done nice preparation, like 1 or 2 times you have already read the syllabus, please do not watch these marathon lectures. Please just focus on what you have studied. Just use the same book, revise from the same book. That is going to give you better result. Your memory will increase because you remember things from this book. So stick to that. But if you're someone who has not studied much, maybe you've only seen the subject once and that too long time ago, then these marathon lectures might help you. They might increase your speed of revision. Okay, so that time you can use it. But for students who have properly studied 1 or 2 times, please stick to your book. Don't waste time on these marathon lectures, except a couple of chapters that you find very, very difficult, or in case something has happened and you are not able to study from the books. Should you be taking up any new questions? Okay, last 1.5 days, please don't take up any new questions. Okay, sir is giving you some 20 best questions that are going to come in the exam. Don't touch them in the last 1.5 days. Or you're suddenly looking at absolutely new RTP or past exam questions or some random questions here and there. Please don't do that. Stick to the questions that you have studied in the last 2 months, 3 months. Just revise them, because they will actually strengthen your concept much more. If you see new questions, no, they might be tough, they might be difficult, you might suddenly lose confidence looking at these new questions. Rather focus on revising what you have studied. With revision, your concept will get stronger, and in exam, no matter what kind of questions come, you will be able to solve them. Rather, if you just solve these tricky, difficult new questions, you lose confidence. So there's no point. Okay, last 1.5 days is not about studying new things. It's about only revising what you have done in last 2-3 months. It's just about, collecting all of that together. That's it. Similar point is that in last 1.5 days, don't do detailed study. Like for example, there is a chapter. Now you want to solve every question of that chapter. Don't do that. Last 1.5 days is not for that. Okay, there is very limited time you have to allot to every chapter, and you have to finish the chapter in limited time, like half an hour, 1 hour only. Okay, so that means that you have to just overview the entire chapter. You have to read all the concepts. For example, let's say it's theory subject, let's say it's audit, or let's say it's law. Then read every concept. Okay, if you have underlined the notes, underlined notes is what you have to read again. You don't have to solve every illustration, every question. No, this is not the time. That should have been done in last 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Next important tip is that you have to plan. So when you come back from the exam, that time you have to first sit down and make a 1.5 day plan for yourself. Now it's a very simple process. Okay, you have to see the number of chapters that you have. Now let's say there are 16 chapters. Now out of these 16 chapters, let's say you have completed only 14 chapters. 2 chapters you have never touched. So those 2 chapters, don't do them now. We'll see if we get time, we'll see some important topics. But first you have to finish and revise those 14 chapters. Now 14 chapters, and you have got how much time? When you come back from your exam, you will have 4 hours. Then next day you will have approx 12 hours, and then next day another 5 hours. So approximately you will have 20 hours. So you've got 14 chapters and 20 hours. So you'll have to see, like it's a small chapter, I'll give it half an hour. This is a big chapter, I'll give it 2 hours. This is an average chapter, I'll give it 1 hour. So you will have to make a plan that how much time you are going to allot to each of these chapters. Write it down on a piece of paper or in the index of your book. Now follow that plan. If you have put half an hour time for one chapter, then finish that chapter in half an hour. Then only you will be able to revise the entire subject in that 1.5 day. And last minute revision is very important. If let's say you don't revise a couple of chapters, then in the exam, you won't be able to recall those chapters. So extremely crucial. I don't want to scare you, but it's important for me to let you know that last 1.5 day revision is so crucial. That is why finish the full syllabus revision, whatever you have studied, and therefore stick to these deadlines. Half an hour one chapter means half an hour one chapter. 5 minutes here or there, it's okay. That means accordingly you'll have to be fast. You'll have to review all the concepts. You can't go in detail. You can't be solving everything. Next important tip is that before the exam, make sure that you definitely check the amendments for the subject. So for taxation, we know there are amendments. Okay, so make sure that you do check them, and amendments you should see for this attempt and previous attempt, because questions are going to come from there. Okay, another thing is that you have to also check the RTP revision test paper that are issued for this attempt, also the MTP questions. So if you have previously solved them, then you can review them. If you have not solved them, first, please revise the chapters. First, you've revised everything, then only look at the RTP and MTP questions. Sometimes it happens that these questions are repeated in the exam. Next important thing is that you have to be careful of not compromising your sleep pattern. At night, at least bare minimum 5 to 6 hours you should sleep every day. Okay, even before the exam. Because if you don't sleep, again, you will be stressed. You'll have this weird headache in the exam hall. You might feel sleepy, or you might not be able to make the best decisions. Your focus might not be the best. Make sure 100% you're sleeping at least 5 to 6 hours every day. Next very crucial tip is that you have to ensure that you are revising in ABC sequence. Once you come back from the exam hall, that time because you're tired, you can take up small chapters, B category, C category chapters. But the one big day that you get in between, please complete all the A category and B category chapters. Keep the C category chapters for revision in the end. Why? Because even if, let's say, time is less and you have to leave out revision of a couple of chapters, then there will be C category chapters and you will miss out on less marks. Next thing is that in the exam, out of all the papers that you will be giving, it may happen that 2 papers go really well, 1 paper does not go well, 1 paper is average. Okay, now because these 2 papers are really well, you might feel overconfident, you might feel like, oh my god, I'm going to pass the exam. Okay, and if a paper goes really bad, you will feel so discouraged that I'm about to fail the exam, it's not working out for me. Okay, and if 1 paper is average, you will be okay. So don't let the way your paper goes affect your emotions. See, this is something which most of the students will undergo. Some papers will be nice, unexpected, better than what you thought, and some papers might not be as good, they might be less than your expectation. But no matter what happens, don't let it affect your morale, your emotions, because these exams, C and CS exams, they are unpredictable. Even if you think that your paper went really well, you might get less marks. Even if you think that your paper went really bad, but everybody's paper is bad, so everybody got extra marks, and therefore you score really well, good marks, you might get 40, 50, whatever. So you might get better marks in the paper that you thought went really bad. You might get less marks in a paper that you thought went really well. So you don't know. So howsoever the paper goes, your job is just to go out there and perform. Do the best that you can do. Whatever study you have done, just demonstrate it nicely with good presentation and with good speed in the exam. That's your job. It's done there. After that, don't let the way the paper went affect you at all. Okay? Come back home, be relaxed, eat your food, have a little rest, and come back to study. Your job is just to finish that routine for all the papers without any emotions. It's easy for me to say, but it's hard to execute that you will have emotional swings here and there. That's why I'm saying practice some sort of breathing exercise. Have God in the picture, universe in the picture. At all times, just have somebody in the picture like that, so that you are calm and composed. Okay, if you want, whenever you're feeling too stressed, just pray, play some bhajans, or do some little bit of meditation and come back to track. If you have someone supportive, someone who encourages you, someone who is not your competition, you can discuss with them. They'll help you stay grounded and only focus on your output. Okay, so try to maintain that sense of calm throughout your preparation. It's going to be so beneficial for your papers. And finally, in the exam hall, I want you to try to attempt 95% of the paper and make the best use of the first 15 minutes, about which I'm talking in this video. So make sure that you watch this video next.